Before the video starts, I just want to explain the context of what the gaming industry has been like for the past 5 years or so.
Not these frames, man. I'm not.
Microtransactions, false promises, delayed games, unfinished games, bad games. These are some of the words that perfectly describe today's gaming industry. Developers think that they can make whatever shoots out of their ass, develop it with a total budget of $10 plus Huey Magoo's chicken tenders, publish it in their own shitty launchers that barely work. EA Discount, you play Rockstar Games launcher, and think we'll buy them right up. Developers these days have been nothing but greedy, lazy, irresponsible, and outright shameless. But it's not often that we get to see such a miracle release out of nowhere. Literally. But I'll get to it later. Now, let's meet our primary subjects. I'll start with the lighter cases and work my way up from there. Subject number 1. Forspoken. They almost got it right. Almost. I say almost because, you know, there's the dog water level of writing.
Stick that in your pipe and smoke it.
God-awful characters, repetitive gameplay, and also a world emptier than Square Enix's creativity. But the worst thing is that they have the audacity to charge $70 for this unoptimized piece of shit. Almost $100 for the deluxe edition that has, well, the full game, digital art book, the digital soundtrack, and 2 DLCs that aren't even out yet. The Steam page says you need an RTX 3070 with 8GB of VRAM, 24GB of RAM, and 150GB of storage to play this game. By the way, Red Dead Redemption 2, a game with probably more details than Forspoken, that also has a shitload of stuff running in the background. By the way, this is the game that actively grows your hair. This game only asks for a GTX 1060 and 12GB of RAM. But it doesn't matter even if you have a 3090 Ti and 32GB of RAM and run the graphics on low. The game still gets less than fucking, I don't know, 20 FPS? This is the Luminous engine, an engine that Square Enix, the devs of this game, made themselves. It's an in-house engine, aka an engine that Square Enix should know like the back of their palm, and therefore have no excuse as to why it runs this poorly. Not to worry though, they'll probably fix this in a later patch, as all game devs do these days. Subject number 2. Saints Row, the reboot. Well, what else do you want me to say about this piece of shit? The gameplay is as repetitive as watching the same TikTok for an hour. To say the story was bad would be putting it lightly, and, well, the writing, I mean, to be honest, the writing in Saints Row wasn't really, perfect. It was serviceable, keeping in mind this is a competitor to the Grand Theft Auto series.
Shut the fuck up.
But if the writing in Saints Row 4 was starting to grow white spots, here the writing has been completely taken over by fungi. Not only the writing, by the way, Saints Row is also the physical representation of modern gameplay in video games. That is to say, buggy, repetitive, boring, and outright just cringe. This game isn't that far off from being on the same level as Mr. Krabs' overdoses on ketamine. At least the Platinum Edition, which has the most amount of content, including Saints Row the 3rd, is only $40. But that's only small game compared to the next contender in our list, which you've absolutely heard of before. Subject number 3. Cyberpunk 2077. The thing about Cyberpunk is that the first time we learned about it was on January 10th, 2013, 7 months before GTA 5 was even released. Then again at E3 2018, 4 months before Red Dead Redemption 2 was released. It was touted as the most advanced, immersive, and sophisticated game in the decade, and after countless delays, it was finally released at the very end of 2020. And the most immersive and advanced game of the decade turned out to be nothing but a buggy mess that made Saints Row look like a game of the year.
What?
It was, and still somewhat is, the biggest laughingstock of the game industry. Not even being able to beat Lego City, and even after 2 years since its release, the bugs have yet to be fixed. Not to mention that when it released, CD Projekt Red's stock market value crashed by more than 75%. CD Projekt Red clearly bit off more than they could chew trying to make this game, and made themselves go from a legit and competitive game development studio to nothing but a joke. But they are by far not the worst. There is one more game company that is on a league of their own when it comes to scummy and borderline illegal practices in the game industry. Subject number 4. Rockstar Games. I'm putting Rockstar Games as a whole, cause in recent years they have fallen from grace faster than what GTA 5 sold on its first day. There are many reasons why Rockstar Games is by far the worst offender in this list, and probably in the whole industry, but I'll list the quote-unquote small stuff in the screen so as to not make this so long. This is a video about Hi-Fi Rush after all. So first, let's talk about the GTA trilogy and its 10th and 20th anniversary remasters. Something to remember. GTA 5 and Red Dead Redemption 2 are in the top 10 of best-selling games of all time, accumulating a total of 225 million copies sold, and Rockstar Games has a net worth of $5 billion, so they have the resources to remake these 20-year-old games. But they decided to instead outsource it to Wardrum Studios, and the first time they blew it big time. We all know how the 10th year anniversary releases on mobile went. It's been 10 years since that. And they still went back to Wardrum, now renamed Grove Street Games. The audacity these fuckers have. To remake these games now in the Unreal Engine. Think about that. GTA 4, Red Dead Redemption,
You eat babies.
GTA 5,
You go toss a salad, stretch mark ass.
and Red Dead Redemption 2 were all made with the Rage engine, an engine Rockstar made themselves. So what do you think the definitive edition of the trilogy was made with Unreal Engine? Because it wasn't made by Rockstar. Wardrum, I'm not calling them Grove Street Games, were handed with the responsibility to remake these games again. And because they are not Rockstar people, they had to use the next best thing to the Rage engine, which is Unreal. And mind you, these guys couldn't even make decent ports of the trilogy for mobile, PS3, and Xbox 360, which were basically done with renderware. So what makes you think they can build 3 games from the ground up in an engine as complex as Unreal? Yeah, the results speak for themselves.
I'm always crashing, CJ. We burning, fool!
But what's worse than outsourcing and releasing a shit anniversary present? Well, how about putting your community's personal information in jeopardy every time they play your online games? Yeah, GTA Online and Red Dead Online both still use peer-to-peer connection instead of servers, which means that modders can easily access what's on your end. Not only that, but Social Club, Rockstar's online service, sends all the information you have on it to everyone you connect to a server, and a modder can access this data and fuck you up. And when I say data, I mean, you know, small stuff like your IP address, your household address, your full name, even credit card info that you may have, since both of these games have microtransactions. And recently, modders were also able to corrupt your online account, causing you to lose all your progress. Oh, but you wanna know what's worse? Since you need to be connected to the internet to even launch this game, modders can do all of this stuff and worse on single player. Yeah, they can fuck with you when you are alone in the story mode. Evidenced by this footage from Dark Viper AU.
Yeah, exactly, Randa, but if I want to do online stuff and all that, I'll have to do... What? What? What the hell? I'm not doing anything, I'm literally pressing no buttons. Xbox 360. He did it again! What? I don't know what to tell you, man. I've definitely lost time here. I've never seen a bug like this in my life. There is no button that can let you...
I told my contact to meet us just off the coast. Hey, look, let's make this quick. I got shit to do.
What the fuck?
You need to slow it down. Tanisha was right.
Someone modded my game.
We both know you always been sweet on me.
Alright, I imagine you get the picture. Now, let's look at what makes Hi-Fi Rush better than any of these games and game company. First of all, this game was never marketed. The trailers dropped on the same day the game was launched, and there was no word or press about it before January 25th. It's like it was created the same fucking day. The regular version costs $30 and the deluxe costs $40 on Steam. On Epic, these costs are fucking halved. And what does the deluxe edition have? Well, it has 2 outfits for Tai, the playable protagonist, 7 t-shirts, a skin for his guitar weapon, and a skin for his cat companion 808. Oh, and these are not set in stone outfits. You can mix and match all the clothing in the game to create a unique look. Plus 20,000 gears, which is the in-game currency. Moving on to the game itself, well, I think other people have already praised it more than what I could with my writing skills, so I'll try to keep it brief. Characters? Great. Writing and dialogue? I mean, look at this. When was the last time a game had comedy this good?
And I am... defunded.
Don't just stand there. Finish him.
Oh, right. This is all because of you!
Okay. Zanzo would have hid any information on Spectra. It's most likely in a password-protected database decrypted with a...
Here it is. Right on the desktop.
Oh.
Can we do this later?
Sure, right, later. I think I know how we can escape. Really? Do you trust me?
Are we actually giving them a moment, sir?
Just follow me. All right, come and get me. Run!
Might there be anyone here who knows how to fix the coffee machine? It's only giving out decaf, and with this amount of documentation I need to get through... What? Firmware? Why does the coffee machine need a firmware?
Story? Easy to keep up with, and also very interesting. And the cherry on top? The soundtrack. Boy, do I love this game's soundtrack. The entire game revolves on being synced up with the beat. They have licensed music in this game, but they still went out of their way to make their own original soundtrack to replace the licensed music so that streamers don't get copyright striked and all that stuff, you know. And guess what? It rocks! Few games have this addicting soundtrack these days. It's so fucking good. It was clear the devs focused on making the game fun instead of being greedy. From what I could see, this game has also no bugs or glitches. I've seen a skip at the beginning of the game, but that's all I've seen so far really. And it's not demanding either. It only asks for an RTX 2070, an Intel Core i7 or AMD Ryzen 5, 8GB of RAM, and only 20GB of storage. Basically, if you can run Red Dead Redemption 2, you could probably run this game as well. And the most important thing of all, in the details of the deluxe edition, there's a snippet of text that reads, "Gears are obtained through combat and exploration in-game, and not available as a purchasable currency." It's as if they're making fun of other devs by stating that the only way to earn in-game currency is by playing the fucking game, and not by pulling your credit card out. Okay, look. Throughout the video, I said that games released today suck. But what I mean by that is that AAA games that are made by big budget studios suck. Their focus is to inflate their pockets instead of making a game that's fun to play. Now, look at Hi-Fi Rush. A game developed in secret for years with no leaks, prioritizing the consumer instead of greed. A game that doesn't take a toll on your computer and doesn't require half your storage. A game with good comedic writing and memorable characters. No bugs or glitches on launch, no microtransactions, available in 14 languages so it can be understood by as many people as possible. All of this and more in-game content available for a max price of $40. Maybe this will go down in history as the last good video game of all time. But a lot of people, me included, have faith that Hi-Fi Rush can change the course of gaming and finally return it to its former glory.